So last night, let's get into the minimal drama for a hot second, because you've established this incredible, intimate, strong relationship with Riley. But then Demar walks into the beach. And I remember you and I, we had conversations of, you know, who did you expect or want to see coming onto the beach? And you had told us, like, Demar was the only guy that you had named. And so when we saw him and Ed come down, we all knew how strong you and Riley were, so I don't think anyone really was worried. But, you know, in that situation, when Demar pulls you to go chit-chat and that you guys are, you know, he was eyeing you up and you had expressed some sort of interest before Riley came down. What was that like? Were you just like, shit? Or were you like, nah, I'm good. I feel stable right now?
So, I mean, like the week before, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Like, what if Demar comes down any day now? Like, because I know that that's who I wanted to see coming in. But like I said before, like I had no idea who Riley was. So I didn't even know anything about him. But when Demar came, I was like, that conversation, when we had that conversation, I was like, this isn't it. Like, I feel a spark with Riley. When Riley told me to have that conversation, it was like an instant connection. And then with Demar, it was just more like a friend. And so I knew right away. He actually asked me if I would go on the date with him if he asked. And I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, maybe, like this could be fun, you know? And that's how you know if you found your person, if you explore your options, you know? Right. But just in that conversation, I was like, this isn't Riley. All I wanted to do was go back. I'm like, where's Riley at? Like, I'm sitting like looking out the corner of my eye.
And it doesn't hurt though to kind of like light a fire under Riley's ass to be like, oh,
literally
that's my girl with someone else. Like, this is how I know I'm actually into her, because I feel a little jealous.
Pretty much that's like kind of why I was like maybe like flirting a little bit. I'm like, okay, maybe I'd go on this date. Like maybe, but I knew I wasn't going on that date.
I was like, when you were gone, he was like, what am I supposed to do? Just watch them talk? We were like, yeah, we've all done it.
Well, and I just didn't think, because he hadn't expressed to me yet, like his true feelings. And so my mind was just spiraling. I'm like, did I make the right decision by not going on this date? Like, is Riley here for the same thing I'm here for? And that's kind of when I just had to have that conversation with him, you know, and open up to him and tell him, like, look, talk.
Yeah. What actually forced you to get to that point? Because we've all been in the position, and I think you made a comment like, I know I have to have this conversation. There's some sort of disconnect in Riley's actions versus what he's telling me, and I want to get there. And we as women, and I'm sure men have been there too, definitely, where it's like, you know, you need to do something, but you also are afraid of the outcome of, you know, potentially pushing someone away or getting in an argument that is uncomfortable. And no one obviously wants to have to get to that point with somebody. What made you just be like, okay, now's the moment, tonight's the night, we need to, it's like, it was like your make or break time, I would say. So what made you get into that mindset and force yourself to actually be able to express to him what you needed out of him?
Yeah. So, well, I came into Paradise with the intention on finding my husband. Like day one, I'm like, I'm finding my husband. And so when Demar came down, that had me questioning Riley. I'm like, what if I made a mistake? Like, what if he's not here to find a wife? Like, you know, or he doesn't see that with me. So I'm like, you got to find out, because your husband could leave next week. And like, that could have been your possible husband, you know? But since I didn't like open up and go on the date with Demar, all that was running through my head. I'm like, did I make the right decision? Like, you got to have this conversation with him, because you're not going to find out unless you ask. Like, usually that's what I do in relationships. Like, I just sit back and I don't express my true feelings, but I sit and bottle them up, and I'm just trying to go with the flow. And then that turns into a year or two situationship, you know? And I'm like, I'm here to find my husband. It's time to have that conversation.
Like other couples too were telling each other they were falling in love, and all this is going on around you, and you're like, damn, why am I not at that point? Like, might as well just ask and see what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, the worst thing he's gonna do is tell me you don't want to be with me, and then I'm gonna be like, bye, Paradise. I'm out. Deuces.